Let me see if I can figure out this technology here.
This massive leap forward in technology for you called a microphone.
Yeah, it's called a microphone.
You've heard of them. If the listeners are wondering why I sound weird, it's because I don't have mine.
Yeah.
Recording from an undisclosed location while I'm out on the Sasquatch retreat.
Super secret. It's a super secret squirrel, right?
Yeah.
But at least you've got your sniffles with you, so that's something. You
always
that
got
going
the
for
sniffles. You. Well, the cottonwood out here in the woods is just in full force, and there's nothing much I can do about that.
Right. Well, I guess we should get this going, huh?
Yeah, you suppose you should.
Welcome again to another episode of Drake and the Maestro, almost relevant and almost celebrating or something. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody survived their weekend endeavors.
Perfect. Now I can pee all over the tri-state area.
The 250th Army anniversary parade, right? Going on.
Yep.
And Father's Day. It's the only time. It's the only day of the year that fathers are allowed to be in a mood.
What kind of mood is that?
A mood. I don't know. When your woman's like, I'm just in a mood. Oh, yeah. I didn't notice.
Thanks, I noticed.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You okay there? I mean, you gonna be all right? Gonna make it through this thing?
I don't know. We'll find out. There's only one way to find out.
You had a close call, right? Because you were on a super secret mission and then had a close call at Area 51 or with the TSA or
what the
something
TSA?
happened.
Yeah, that was the airport in we'll just say a large city in the Great White
metropolitan area. Unbeknownst to Clark Kent. Gonna go on that joke.
Well, you got me all distracted there. I don't know what happened. My brain just went. Nah. I did a U.
Welcome to my world. Look, squirrel. Oh, yeah. And while you're thinking, I wanted to thank everyone who's tuned into the last episode. I was afraid that by doing nothing but ripping on a specific TV show, it would be the last podcast. But no.
No, apparently the audience was into it. So, we just roll with it, man. Just roll with it. Don't ask questions. Just roll with it.
So after you're finished with your TSA story, I got to tell you, the television terrorist has struck again. So I'll tell you about that. Yep.
I was in a major metropolitan area, and I had to deliver to an airport, specifically like in the airport, to a airline.
So you delivered to an airport in the airport. That's great. Well,
to the airport, like instead of like delivering to a restaurant or something like that, I was delivering to an airline, and I was warned ahead of time that I had to take no sharp objects in this airport. And I was like, well, that's going to be a bit of a problem, seeing as I drive around with about $6,000 or $7,000 worth of my knife collection in the back. So I had to drive like my hair was on fire for a little bit there to get up to the terminal so I could drop all that off so that I didn't become the next cautionary tale for my interactions with the TSA.
I hate it when that happens.
Agent. Yeah, the poor TSA agent would have opened the first case and gone, "Oh no!"
You know what? I can't help it. You talk about the cautionary tale. I can't help but think of the part of Witless Protection where Larry the Cable Guy is getting the strip search from the TSA.
Ow!
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
What is that?
I don't know, and I don't want to.
It's disgusting.
Is that hair?
Send in the expert.
Yeah. It's kind of that, but with
it would be like that. Yeah.
Whatever Larry the Cable Guy had going on there.
No, well, it's a prehensile tail, right? Anyway,
right or something.
You're getting strip searched by the TSA.
Well, and I had to then I get all that off. And I go to the airport to unload, and I show up, and I got to call the guy. And of course, because it's airplane parts, it's get there now. Get there. And I get there, and like, oh yeah, you're gonna have to wait like an hour because we don't have enough people. I'm like,
yeah. Well, was that a military operation? Hurry up and wait. That's kind of their thing.
Right. It wasn't, but it felt like one.
Yeah. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, hurry up. It was definitely a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we don't have enough people here right now. We got to get more people got to show up. Because I just happened to show up at shift change. So there was nobody there. There was the one guy, and he's like, I can't go out there to get you and bring you in until more people show up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got to sit out on the road in front of the airport probably being eyed by every security guard in the nation. And got let in. I show up. We get to the gate. I pull up, and he pulls into the airlock, as we'll call it, because it's two gates inside a fenced-in square, and you have to pull in there, and then they close with the one behind you, but don't open the other one, and you get out. And they violate your personal space.
Right. There's is it like the movies that get
100 cops with Doberman pinchers?
I find that hard to believe.
Would you believe 10 security guards and a bloodhound?
I don't think so.
How about a Boy Scout with rabies?
No, it's not quite that bad. It's like a kid and with it's made some questionable life choices.
3-meter maids and a police dog.
Right, exactly. And he's like, "Do you have a backpack?" I was like, "I got a backpack." He's like, "Okay, well, you have to bring that with you." Just like I was like, "I'm not boarding a plane. I'm just bringing plane parts in. What are we doing here?"
I'm just bringing in explosives, for crying out loud.
Right. So we do all that. I bring my backpack in, take my laptop out, do the whole rigmarole about that. I'm like, "You want me to bring all my shower stuff in too? Because that's in a bag." He's like, "No, that'll be fine." So, I just double check it. Got to make sure I don't violate any rules here. Don't want to get viciously tackled.
You should just make it easy on them. Just show up in your bathrobe and slippers.
That's kind of what it felt like I needed to do. It was kind of wild how it's, take all my accoutrements off, get them through the X-ray machine, show them, sit down while they violate my truck. And then I'm sitting there, and then we get through all that, and they open the other gate, and we pull through. And I guess we didn't follow the rules because you're supposed to stop when you get outside that gate and wait for the gate to close behind you, and we didn't do that. So then we got a visit from Officer Friendly. He came over and was like, "Hey, I watched the video. The truck's too long, but next time." I was like, "Okay, whatever."
As long as it wasn't Officer Friendly finger, you're okay.
No, it's just officer regular friendly, not extra friendly.
Sir, I am going to do a body cavity search. I wouldn't if I was you. It's procedure.
Okay.
And he came over and said that, and then I realized as I'm sitting there waiting for them to unload me that they never went in my trailer.
Right? Did they even peek in the kit?
My truck.
Did they even look? I mean, they even put their peepers in there to see if there's
they
a battalion of Muslim terrorists in there or something?
Nothing. No, they just searched the truck. Just the truck. They never opened the back flap of the trailer. Not that I saw.
Right.
I was like, that's kind of crazy that they wouldn't even open the trailer, but they would go through all that effort for my truck.
Yeah.
But that's what you get with security theater.
It's like Kabuki, but without the funny masks
and the funny name.
Kind of reminds me of the security when it goes to when I used to go to the nuke plants. So it's kind of the same thing.
Well,
used to.
They get real upset. They get real upset when you do weird stuff.
Right. Yeah. And the one guy's like, "Okay, we're gonna have to, because they're checking you for radiation, and then they're gonna have to check to make sure you're not bringing anything in. So you're gonna have to go through the naked probe, And,
the probator.
And the guy was a little disturbed because I was like, "I can take it if you can," that kind of thing.
Right. As we've discussed, I wear clothes for your protection.
Exactly. I was thinking though, I'm like, good thing my wife isn't with me because we always would get her a hotel, and so she didn't have to go through it because I'm not putting her through that.
That's probably for the best.
But the guy looked just a little like, we got one that likes it.
No, it's one of those. Oh, no.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
It puts the lotion on the skin, or it gets the hose again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. So that was it. And then I got to leave, and I got to go through the airlock again and all that. And it was a whole lot of nothing.
Did they check to make sure you weren't bringing anything back out?
No. It was just pulling the airlock and leave.
Smuggling a DC-10 in, out underneath the tarp or something.
Yeah, Douglas DC-10 in the trailer.
Right.
I did get to see a Douglas DC-10. And a few other cool planes when I was down in New Mexico. Also, while I was down there, I sent Drake a picture of this. I sent Drake a picture of this. I got to see the alleged hangar where the Roswell crash was allegedly brought.
Now,
I'll keep saying allegedly because it's fun to say. Allegedly.
Right, because it brings controversy.
Allegedly.
Okay, are you giving a security clearance so the Rumble viewers can see the picture? Because I'll put that up there for
the guy at that airport was like, "I don't care." He's like, "It's a public airport. People come by here and take pictures all the time. It's not that big a deal.
Right. So it's supposedly the Area 51 hangar, huh?
Yeah. It is supposed. Well, not the Area 51 hangar. It's the Roswell hangar. It's the hangar where the crash was brought and the autopsy was done, allegedly, before it went to Area 51.
Yeah, it does kind of look like in the movies, you know?
Yeah, it's in some of the pictures. Just think, pre-19 whatever, because I don't remember when that happened. My memory isn't all that great. That would have been part of an army base, because that's what that airport is. It's the old army base.
Yeah,
down there in Roswell.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun. Now, do you have any missing time? Like you can't remember a few hours.
If anything, the aliens were helpful, and I gained time on my way up. They must have been pushing me on the way up.
Oh, well, that's
I flew on my way up there.
Get some new technology. Great.
Yeah.
I
was joking with the guy when they were loading the engine on my, because I picked up I'll talk about it now. I didn't want to talk about it a couple weeks ago when I was doing it, because place and time kind of thing. I got a jet engine. It was a GE engine, and I was talking with the guys like, well, can we hook that up to my, if you want this up there by Sunday, maybe we can figure out a way to hook that up with some fuel so I can use it to push me down the road or something.
Yeah, be like a whistling diesel video stunt or something.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Let's hook this thing up so that I can fly, baby, fly.
Well, now I don't know what everybody else did for the weekend.
No,
I watched the Army 250th birthday parade.
I watched that terrible movie Geostorm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It felt like they forgot parts of the plot. There's this whole tension build up with like a sort of romantic interest that goes nowhere, that comes out of nowhere.
So it's kind of like Drake and the Maestro telling a joke. There's a big build up, and then what were we doing?
Right, exactly. Except for with a German lady on a space station.
Well, that wasn't the one with space Nazis, was it?
No.
I happen to be jumping channels like space Nazis on the moon. No,
that's the actual name of the movie, Nazis on the Moon.
Is it?
I've seen that movie.
Is it really?
It's a comedy.
Okay, because, whoa.
It's not supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be funny.
Anyway, I'm watching the Army 250th, and it's okay. It's good.
They're doing Army stuff.
It's like your root beer. It's good.
It's good.
I just watched the White House feed. I didn't watch any of the news channels because
you'd have been hard pressed to find it.
Well, I didn't want to hear a bunch of when I'm trying to watch things and see things, I don't want some commentator telling me what I'm watching and seeing.
You don't also have to hear things?
Well, yes, I can see it. It's in front of me. I don't need you telling me what I've seen.
Are you sure, old man? Your senses are kind of getting dulled there with age.
No, they're not. They're fine.
Yeah, okay. Whatever you got to tell yourself, I'll get your car keys later.
That's not a sense. That's the processor interpreting the senses. The senses are fine. It's the processor that's having issues.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. No, it was pretty good. And they had I didn't realize at first. I thought it was canned music at first. And I thought, this is really bad canned music.
Would you say canned heat even?
Oh, no, canned heat would have been better.
We'll have to sometime ruin that song for the listeners.
It was mixed by the one sung by Ernie. It's like
it's sung by Ernie. On the Road Again by Canned Heat.
On the Road Again by Bert and Ernie.
Bert. Hey, Bert. I ruined that. I was at my high school's office doing some computer work, and that song came on. And I went, "You want me to ruin this for you?" And she, the secretary there that we both know, she looks at me and goes, "What?" I was like, "Doesn't this sound like it was sung by Ernie?" And she looks at me and she goes, "Oh no!" Yeah, now you can't unhear it, can you?
You can't. No, it's like the Love Game. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
It's like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop.
That's right. So it was like, imagine a band that's probably, a regional band. They do pretty good. That's good, pretty good.
As opposed to your American band.
Right. That's just too much Grand Funk for one parade.
Yeah. We couldn't do that here.
Yeah. Not American band, regional band. And they, and it was the sound engineers, also the best buddy of the rhythm guitar player. Right, so who's featured in the mix.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize until halfway through that they even had a keyboard player when they actually showed the bandstand. And the guy's got a rack
up there just
going
to town, and there's you can't hear him at all.
You can hardly hear him. You got to like listen past.
I see the keyboard player got the Jason Newsted Metallica treatment.
Yeah, it was, and the keyboard player is playing some really good riffs. It's like, wait a minute, who's doing the mix here? This is bad. It's got to be there, dude. There's not enough rhythm guitar, dude.
Can I get a little suck out of my monitor? I don't know. Can you play better?
There's a lead guitarist, and there's the rhythm guitarist, and there's the keyboard player with the quintessential 1980s stack of keyboards.
Oh, cool.
To get all the different sounds and whatever, and
and playing different sounds at the same time, and
you got your drummers, and drummers was in the mix decent, and the bass player was doing his thing, and he was in the mix. But you couldn't hear the lead guitar much of anything, and behind the lead guitar was the keyboard just buried. And with those two elements missing, it was just, you heard a lot of just chunk, 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 from the rhythm guitar. Meanwhile, if you strain, you can hear the lead guitar doing his thing, right? Carrying the melody. But,
lead guitar. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Or the keyboard player... Or the keyboard player and the lead guitar player pranked the sound guy the night before, and this is revenge. It's one of the
Either
two.
way, I'm just saying, they definitely gave the keyboard player the Jason Newsted treatment.
Yeah. There was almost no point in having the keyboard player. He could have just sat down and enjoyed himself because
sit down, boy.
Or it could have been. I kept fighting. I did a gig. And the keyboard player, I got a feed from the keyboard player to the soundboard, and it's like, oh, don't worry, we do the sound check, and I'm like, okay, everybody's locked in, don't touch your volume. I got you all on the board. So, oh, don't worry, man, I can control the sound from over here on my keyboard. I'm like, do not touch your volume control. If you need more in the monitor, tell me more in the monitor. Give me the thumbs up, thumbs down, and I'll adjust your monitor, but do not change your volume because it's going to change the feed on the entire fader on the entire channel. Yeah. Right. And so it turns out, of course, band member never listens. Band never listens to the sound guy.
Why would they?
He keeps adjusting his sound level. And so there's a big there's the battle of the faders.
I'd have just pulled him out of the mix.
I did. I hit mute. I'm like, screw you. You're done. Do not. For all you junior little leaguer band members out there, don't mess with the sound guy. They're there to actually do a job and make you sound good. We don't have. Yeah,
also, don't show up late to the sound check, or not show up at all. As the one band I'm thinking of, they didn't show up to the sound check at all. Right. They showed up for their set, lit a bunch of incense on our equipment, on their equipment, and then proceeded to not do a sound check, not do any kind of check, crank their instruments up as loud as they would go, and go, we're going for a vibe, man, and then just proceed to suck for the next 30 minutes.
Well, that was the band. Yeah, that was the band that didn't show up for the band meeting, right?
Right, they didn't show up for anything.
They're the worst kind of band, and almost was. Never was. We can work with them, and those that made it, we can work with them. But the almost was, the ones that just had a taste to be on the big stage and never made it, somehow they think they're bigger than life, and you just can't work with them.
I don't even remember their name. Like, I don't remember the name of the band.
I do, but I'm not repeating it.
I remember the incense, and I remember it being really loud, and I remember both you and I left the room because the incense was so overpowering we couldn't take it anymore.
It was more than that, too, because they came in, and we had, if you remember, we had the stage set like we would do for, like, if we had doing a venue where there were multiple bands coming across the stage. We already had the backline and everything pre-staged for them because we had because
there was another band on before them.
Right. And so as soon as they walked up, we just changed sets, right? We just, okay, this is going to be the new, here's all the microphones, here's the chords, here's the, this is where the drummers go, and boom, 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 boom. And it was all plugged in, all ready to go. And it was just a matter of switching the scene over on the soundboard, and I'm ready to go. And, oh man, we got our own microphones, man. We got to use them. Like, these microphones are already set up. They're already tested. They're ready to go. They're hypercardioid, and they're not cheap. These are really good ones. You'll be fine. No, man, it's part of our sound. We got to use our microphones. And we use our own cables, too. Like, are you kidding me?
They use like the crappiest, cheapest cables they could get. They had halfway decent microphones, just the cables sucked.
Well, they were vintage Shures, fine. They have a certain sound, but you know what? I can press a button on the board and make my microphone sound exactly the same. You want that sound? Dink, there you go. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
And so it took us, 40 minutes because they changed all their cables over, they changed their microphones over, and we didn't get any. We had no sound for the lead guitar and no sound for the lead vocalist.
Yep.
Right. And it's, what's wrong with your equipment? There's nothing wrong with my equipment. And it was all functional before you knuckleheads showed up.
Yeah, because the band before them, we were driving the building so hard we blew a fuse.
That was Uh-huh.
Was that before them or after them?
It was after. We were rocking the place, right? I mean, we were
rocking that little venue so hard we blew a fuse in the fuse box. Like we were drawing so much power on the PA, the fuse box.
Well, I was hooked directly into the sub panel. We melted the sub panel. Whoopsie.
Yeah, whoopsies.
Should have just run the generator on that one. Not bothered
we took the guy's word that it could handle it, and so we kept coming over. It was like, "Hey, can it go louder?" And we're like, "Yeah, it can go louder."
I don't know. Well, yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. And we're doing it was like a street festival, whatever.
Like that.
And how many times I've asked for 50 amps, a 50 amp 240 circuit, but never received it. I should know better, right? So the building's air conditioning was on the same sub panel, and so when we burned it when the air conditioning,
somebody complained about it being hot, so they kicked the air conditioning on. That was enough to.
Yeah. We have a habit of burning down venues.
Well, thankfully we didn't burn down that particular venue. We just, melted a sub panel.
It's just got a good sear on it. Yeah. So it turns out that what happened was the band brought out their cherished microphones and cables, and turns out a bunch of them were damaged. And so all their snobbery, all it did was end up ticking off the sound crew. They went back to our gear.
We just turned on. We got them up and running, and we just walked out.
Right. I just hit the button to set the board at the scene that we did the sound check. Bang. There you go. And you weren't at the band meeting, so I don't know. We didn't do an individual sound check and scene for you, so you're just getting baseline. Enjoy. Yeah. And it was funny. We were sitting out there eating pizza on the street. And the board was on autopilot, and people were coming out like they suck.
They did suck.
They did.
They sucked. I don't think we could have helped them. They were that bad. Like it wasn't our sound equipment that sounded bad. It was them. They just sucked.
No. So there was some of that going on, right? This is the national celebration for the Army, and there's that small time band nonsense going on. I could just tell that's what's happening to the band that was on the sound stage there.
Well, of course.
It was just funny. All you could hear was chunk, 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 and whatever the rhythm guitar part for that particular pop song was, right? So you did get some overtones of Barracuda because they played Barracuda every different group had their own music, and some of the more, shall we say, legacy, like the West Point cadets and all that, they had the Army band playing, not Wingus and Dingus playing.
Wingus and the Ping Pong Boys?
Yeah, Wingus and the Ping Pong Boys. But what I thought was cool, this is what I thought was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. They were introducing the Stryker vehicles, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I because you can hear the drum, so I hear the cymbals, I'm like, no, and then of course the rhythm guitar has a pretty heavy part in this track, and I hear the rhythm guitar. I'm like, oh no, they're not gonna. And sure enough, they're playing War Pigs. Like, yes, lean into it hard.
Yeah, no, I can hear the cymbals in my head.
Right.
Somebody was trying to make a statement, didn't realize they were just leaning into the bit.
Well, I don't know if every different division gets to choose their music or whatever. I would like to know the backstory. So if any of you military guys know, chime in. But that was perfect.
That's
I like
excellent.
how no one was afraid. Like, oh, I don't know. We might be, somebody might get a little upset. Like, no, it's perfect. War Pigs. Come on, more of it. Yeah, they really. At least the band kind of got into that one a little bit, partially because I got into it a little bit, and I could hear Ozzy in my head,
Yeah.
And they're showing the formation of strikers going by, and it's awesome. Lean into it.
That is the perfect song for that particular gathering as well.
It is.
I mean, if you're gonna go for it too.
Go hard.
You can't be a trepid about that particular song at that particular gathering. It just doesn't work that way.
And it works on so many levels too, if you know the lyrics. So
yeah,
I'm like, all right. That made my entire weekend. I just they're doing the 250th Army celebration and playing War Pigs. That's just, and that's sanctioned by the government. That's just awesome.
that had to get past some subcommittee somewhere.
Right. Or is it just some clerk like, okay, War Pigs, yeah, stamp, approved. Okay.
Well, whatever.
What's the next one?
Oh, War Pigs, what are those? Whatever.
Yeah.
Ship it.
Yeah, is it so old a track that some of the youngsters don't know it?
Yeah, it might be old enough that the modern soldier doesn't know that song.
And even and if you're the activist soldier, you're still like, yeah, War Pigs, yeah, fine, play it. Mm-hmm. See how you like that? Yeah, it works. Like I said, it works on many levels, and it's almost relevant.
It is almost relevant. You are correct, sir.
So that was my enjoyable moment for the weekend.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Although I did promise to tell you about the television terrorist. Television terrorist strikes again. Yes, and we went through an extensive deconstruction of Motorheads, and I haven't received any chin music yet. So
that's something.
That's something. I got that going for me.
I saw it come up on my recommended. I went to the Jungle website and saw it come up on my recommended and almost watched it just to see.
No, it's like quicksand, man. Don't start because it'll draw you in, and then you'll be 10 hours.
That was the thing. I was like, you know what? I don't know about this.
See, well, I'll tell you what. If you're going to do it, it wraps everything. You can watch the last episode, and it wraps everything up, and you don't need to see any of the rest of it. Because they show a recap, and then they show you the last episode, and it's like, I realized that all I needed to do was watch the last episode, and I would have seen the whole series and spared myself all the back and forth nonsense. Right. Although I did go back and watch just, for the listeners. Right. I watched so you don't have to.
Right.
That kind of thing. Yeah. So for me, the television terrorist strikes again. And no sooner do I finally get that Motorhead's off of my and recently played thing, because for some reason it doesn't listen to me when I say please remove from list.
Please
come back the next
remove it from my list. Please take it off.
Begging in front of my TV. Come on, please.
Pick up the phone.
All right, so yeah, and then I turn on the next day and there it is. So would you like to finish? No, I'm finished. Anyway, there's a new show that pops up. So if you didn't like Motorheads, you'll like
this.
You'll watch this new movie called Mountainhead. Like, oh, no.
I refuse.
No. So we didn't like Motorheads, but maybe you'll like Mountainhead. And it's not about teenagers. It's about old guys like you that have a reunion on a mountain and then fight evil in another dimension or something. Like, no. I was half expecting. I read it. You know how dyslexia can be fun? I read it weird, and I thought it said Mountainwood instead of Mountainhead, because that would be like Everwood and Motorheads and all combined together. You get Mountainwood, or maybe Mountainwood or Mountain.
That's part
you're
of
laughing.
Yeah, you're right.
I know why you're laughing, because if astronauts get mistletoe, do mountain climbers get Mountainwood? Maybe.
Right.
And I thought, well, maybe Mountainwood. That's got to be the Brokeback trilogy, the final movie, right? Because you got like Brokeback Mountain, then you got Saddle Sore Canyon, and then Mountainwood. Right. Hollywood, since you're producing crap, you might as well finish it off with that. No extra charge.
Are you saying they should finish it off with their Mountainwood?
Right. That's right. So I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'll watch Mountainhead after I can watch Train to Busan in English. How about that? We'll put it there. If the TV terrorist wants me,
much, are you?
If the TV terrorist really thinks I should watch The Mountain Show, then you better fix the whole Spanish language thing on Otherwise, no, not happening.
That's what the pattern is full.
That's right. The only other thing I did, I was watching a live cop show.
Yeah.
And this is all like TV and shows and stuff because I really didn't go out and do anything. I have a woodworking project, but I won't talk about that because it's boring.
It's exciting to you and no one else.
Yeah, it could be way too technical, and people be like, boring. Yeah.
Yeah, you could actually hear the audience's eyes glaze over.
Right. And my wife's eyes, too. There's a lot of eye rolling going on. But I was watching a live cop show.
Eye rolling, if you ask me, but yeah.
And this particular incident on this live cop show made me wonder a question, right?
You wondered a question?
Yes, I did. Because you
have a dream?
It's a live cop show and it's on a commercial network, so they got to have commercials, right? So they go, okay, well, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back, right? Okay, that's fine. I want to know, because how it happened was they took their break and it was the middle of this big standoff. They got 13,000 cop cars.
100 cops with Doberman pinches.
And they're surrounding a guy. And
they
take their break.
Rocks.
Right. They take their 4-minute break and then and we'll get right back to it, and it's like nothing changed. Everybody's still in the same place. The dog's still standing in the same position. It's like, did they have the producer like, okay, we're going to commercial break, people, take 4. And everybody's standing around like the guy in the car gets a cup of coffee. The cops put their guns down. They start chatting with each other. It's like, okay, We're coming back in 5, 4, 3.
Like when the NFL goes to commercial, like all the football players stop playing for a minute, just like, all right, we're going to commercial.
Right. That's right. I want a hidden camera. I want to see that happen because I suspect, because what was going on? I'll tell you what was going on. All right. They got this large shirtless walrus, right? And he's in this.
I didn't know I was on TV this recently.
I swear, from the back. This guy had hair though. So, and he's in a Toyota Corolla. Okay.
Well, there's the first problem.
And he's like, I will not comply. I'm afraid. And they're like, and they get this was a professional police dog. It looked like a German Shepherd. And they get the German Shepherd out of the back of the car. They set him down. And that is a special professional German Shepherd because he travels with nothing. He must be a detective or a plainclothes dog because all he does is he wears his badge on a collar, on like a lanyard collar.
He goes, the wolf.
And that dog didn't say anything. He was just like, It's probably a supervisor. And so
supervisor dog.
The dog's just out of the car and they go over and they get a ballistic vest for him. They put the ballistic vest on him and he's like, cool. It's my vest. And then he just sits down. And it's interesting. They're all taking cover because the guy's threatening to shoot. The reason they got so many cops there is he's threatening to shoot everybody.
Yeah.
He's at a gas station. He's going to shoot everything up. Apparently.
Can we stop threatening to shoot people at gas stations? It's getting old. Like, find a new place to shoot people.
Something new. Well, talk to people in Minnesota. They can give you some pointers, apparently.
Yeah. Well, it's just one guy. But yeah, somebody can give you some pointers, I'm sure.
Got to start somewhere. No, we do not endorse that.
No, we actually don't endorse that, but it's still funny.
There's better ways to resolve conflict. One of them is incessant nagging. Anyway.
That's right.
Will make the other person want to shoot themselves. That's right. Or develop an eating disorder. So the guy's threatening to shoot up the place. By the way, it couldn't have been you because they didn't have way enough back hair. But it was a walrus. And a shirtless walrus. And he's waving around his smartphone.
Walruses tend to be shirtless.
Yes. Somehow. I don't know how, but it is. And so you
ever try to get a shirt on a walrus?
Every cop in the tri-state area is there, and this one supervisor police dog. And I thought it was interesting. He puts this ballistic vest on, and the police dog immediately just takes cover by the front steering axle of the car.
The just police came car?
Out. Yeah, the suspect's around the corner. The dog's just sitting there. Nope, I'm cool right here.
I'm good.
And so they're talking with the guy, and they're talking with the guy, and then they're talking with each other. Well, I guess we'll send the dog in because he doesn't want to come out.
You're going to do what? The dog looks over at the guy like, you're going to do what?
Well, and then the dog looks around the corner. This is the craziest thing. I swear that dog could understand everything those cops are saying, just like our doggy. Because the dog then steps forward, looks around the corner at the subject that he's going to supposedly be dragging out, and stops, looks back up at the officers, and then steps back and sits down. And I realized the dog realized something that I realized as soon as the dog did it, and the officers didn't right away. You're not dragging a walrus through the open window of a Toyota Corolla. He's going to get stuck.
Right. Because that's what I'm saying. The dog, you're going to have me do what?
I mean, I'll try. At least
I'll give it my best effort, sir, but I can't get any guarantees.
At least I can have a taste,
Yeah,
right?
well, got to get a taste.
Doggy always wants a taste. So, and the dog's staring at the cops, and they're like, you know what? Let's just go to pepper balls. We'll go less lethal. And so they get the pepper ball guns out, and of course they pepper the guy with the pepper balls because, The one thing I've noticed about pepper balls is they don't seem to have as much effect as one would think. They got to take time to kind of burn in, you know? They don't have an immediate deterrent effect. And so they keep shooting the car with pepper balls. I mean, there's so much pepper in that car, it looked like the airbags went off, right? And the guy's still hollering at the cops. And now the cops are starting to cough and choke. And the dogs look at him like, and the dog, that's the only time I heard the dog say something. The dog's like, woof.
You guys are idiots.
Yeah. So eventually the guy's like, I can't see. And they get up there and they drag him out of the car. And the dog looks at the dude. He's like, man, come on, give me a taste. I want a taste.
You even seasoned them for me. Let me get a taste.
But I did like the way the dog was watching the cops trying to manhandle the guy, getting him out of the Toyota Corolla. He had to be unwedged. And as a walrus myself, getting in and out of a Corolla, because we got a Corolla, I understand. I get it. I mean, there's a certain amount of wedging that has to go on because you get stuck down in that region.
I experienced the same thing when I get in and out of the PT Cruiser.
Yeah, there's
a certain amount of Crisco that needs to be applied pre-entry before you can really,
It's the B pillar. The B pillar is just perfect.
Yeah, it's just the wrong spot to just get hung up on.
Right. So on that disappointment, it's time to go. Hopefully everybody's had a good weekend and had a good Father's Day for all you fathers out there. Hopefully you didn't have to endure too much eye rolling, because
hopefully you gave out a lot of eye rolling with all your dad jokes.
It's your one day to do it, so hopefully you all did it. And just remember, behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes.
That's right.
If you need to, if you feel led or feel the need to contact us, you can send an email.
Sorry, you set that up so well, I couldn't stop myself.
The Drake Needs Chin music, and you can send it at DrakeAndMaestro@outlook.com. That's DrakeAndMaestro@outlook.com. You can also just comment on our various episodes on the various streaming services. And tune in next week when the Maestro says,
no, I don't think I'll ever get over Macho Grande.
And adios.
Adios.
Adios. Adios, muchachos, caballeros, and when you get out of here.
Yeah, that was like, the dog. I think the dog was a supervisor because.
Well, it sounded like they needed one.
Most of those dogs, you see them running around, they got like a vest on or something, right? It says police. Right. This dog just had like a detective's badge on his collar, like on a lanyard on his collar. So, you know what I'm talking about, the little leather paddle that the detectives use, or anybody in plain clothes. So he was a plainclothes dog. He was in plain clothes
dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they take him for walkies and he points out suspects.
Yeah. Maybe he's the interrogation dog. Remember, we talked about our doggy was the interrogation dog because that dog certainly seems smart enough because the dog realized stuff way before the officers, and then looks at him like, really,
guys, come on, what are we doing here?
It's probably that same drug dog that walks up and goes, "You can't smell that? Seriously, you cannot smell that?"
Yeah, guys, what are we doing here?
Of course, you got to tell the dog, "Listen, my nose isn't certified. Yours is, so we need you as a professional witness."
You're the professional here.
Okay.
I'm just an amateur. Speaking of dogs,
over here.
I walked into the terminal a little bit ago today, and one of the drivers had her dogs in there, and it was two little Brichon frises, and I stuck my hand down to pet them, and one of them was licking me, the other one's trying to chew my fingers off. It's like, hey man, that thing's still attached. Calm down.
Not for long.
Drake, now when I'm done with it, it won't be.
It's mine now, you fool.
Yeah.
You sweet fool, you. Well, we'll see how that episode goes over. Probably like a Led Zeppelin, you know.
Well, or at least a lead balloon. I feel like Zeppelins are bigger. You still there?